Hello, Leo. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is a 2-month forecast. We're going to be taking a look at the month of July and August. This is going to give you plenty of time to map out all of the twists and turns that are lying ahead. And as always, you can use it for sun, rising, and moon. I received so many details for this 2-month period that I'm really excited to share the channeled messages. So basically, it reminded me of like an old film in the 90s called Sliding Doors, where we saw a main character that had two different paths based on one decision that she was going to make. One path was a lot easier, one was a lot more challenging. So what I saw was something where a person convinced you to do something that didn't sit well with you. For some of you, it could have just been a personal preference. For instance, if you're a student thinking of getting a degree or something, it could be a parent, a teacher, a friend that's trying to push you in a path that doesn't feel right. For those of you that are maybe getting into a relationship, it could be pressure to make it exclusive or get married or have children before you're ready. Now, there was another kind of energy here which could also be perceived as like temptation, or again, sort of like a very persuasive person pulling you into a habit or an activity or an event that was going to cause a little bit of trouble. And so I think it's really important to listen to your intuition. Whichever of those situations gel and make sense with you, you know in that moment, this isn't for me. That's the universal thing. Something that someone else is trying to get you to do doesn't sit with you. I would love for you in this moment to just say no. Because I didn't feel like it was going to cause a rift between you and that other person. I didn't feel like there was that much pushback. They just wanted someone to come along for the ride, or to just vicariously live or experience something through you. If there is someone that's putting undue pressure on you, talk to someone else. Buy yourself some time. That's what I saw, because with time comes new perspectives. You could come back to a person that is pressuring you and say, I've thought about it. I don't want to do it because of this, this, and this. Like get all your ducks in a row. And at the very least, you could just say, I don't want to have this conversation today. And then you can do your work. Now, if we put that to the side, another thing that came to mind is like a choose your own adventure book, which was something that I had as a kid. Nowadays, you could think of like a video game where you can replay it and answer differently to the plot points. So I'd like for you to, before answering or before making a decision in your own life, to think for a second, a couple steps ahead. Well, if I did this, maybe that would happen. Like just explore it a little bit before like clicking the button and moving forward on something. Because there is an easier path, and I'd love for you to be able to take it. Thankfully, I'm going to look at 60 days here. So if I see any of the temptations, the peer pressure, or the sort of like forks in the road, I'll try to do my best to highlight it, and we can drill in a little bit and see, which path might be a little easier. But don't rush into a decision. That's the takeaway from today. Don't rush into a decision. Don't let anybody push you into something you don't want to do, and give yourself ample time. Think of like the 8 of Cups to step back, get perspective, and then and only then choose the path that you want. All right. It is your adventure. Choose something that feels right to you. All right. Let's shuffle the cards and see what's coming through for 2 months. All right. Close your eyes, please. And imagine that you are sitting in a circle of pure white light. And in that circle, you are safe and connected to Source. Let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. I'm doing a new spread. I'll walk you through it after everything's pulled and we get through the catalyst. So just bear with me. Very nice. In your catalyst, you received the portal, and I love that there are steps leading up to that portal. This aligns with the channeled messages. I mentioned that it was really important to take a moment to get a bird's eye view of what's going on, to also think beyond the immediate sort of step in front of you. Think a couple of moves ahead. By doing that sort of strategizing, you're going to be able to more effectively make a splash when you want to walk through that portal, but you're also going to have the confidence that you need to make any sort of necessary change in your life. I also get the feeling that this is a bit of an epiphany, an aha or a light bulb moment for some of you. I think the portal has been there for a while, but there's a magical quality to portals, right? So sometimes the obvious nature of the next step isn't there until you're ready to see it. So I'd like to encourage you, if you're feeling this sense of, I could have done it sooner, I wish I would have done it sooner. That's not going to serve you in this moment. Instead, say, I am so glad that I know what I want. How can I make it happen? And again, don't worry so much about the speed. Worry about doing it right, doing it well, and doing it with that sense of confidence and ease. That's so much better than rushing through something, okay? All right, let's talk for a moment about this spread, and then we'll get into the reading. The way that I've laid it out is this is going to be July, this is August. We have Karma, we have Destiny here, and then we have a connecting card that will help us see between the two, a block, and then a couple of summaries, all right? Don't worry about it. We're going to take it card by card, starting with Karma. All right, so we have the Three of Wands, which is one of my favorite minor arcana cards because it carries with it an immediacy. So if there's been something that you're trying to create, there is a now sort of energy to it. This is very different. So we'll look at this and then we'll compare it to the original. So in this upright position of the Three of Wands, she's kind of setting it into motion. It's a hands-on card, which is what I like. And it's basically like pen to paper that I'm really looking at here. So we don't always see that in the Three of Wands. If you are looking for something like support or information or clarity, this is a time to pick up the phone, send a text, write something down, get it into motion that way. And you may have to seek an answer or an insight from a distant shore. So for this, let me pull the traditional and we'll talk a little bit more. What I like about the Rider-Waite-Smith card is he's gazing into the distance and he sees multiple opportunities, 3 different ships coming toward him. And it's important to know that if he were looking just in his phone or his book, kind of like with a razor focus or some blinders, he would miss that other opportunity. So what we see here is like theory, or what you've been taught, and practice, like what's actually happening in the real world. Since this is karmic, since this is in the past, and since it's reversed, the encouragement is to get your head out of the book, to look beyond what is expected, and to start to open yourself up to a different space, a different shape, a different form, and the timing could start to speed up. It could happen faster than you think. It's not about rushing, it's about looking in a different direction or through a different portal. Let's move into the month of July, starting with the energy of the past. So this is pulling a little bit from karma, but also anything thematically, even from the rest of this year that you might still be trying to work through. And we have the Two of Pentacles here, choices. In the reverse position, it's basically showing that now more than ever, it's important to make a choice, to make a decision that this is what I want to spend my time on. If there is a person, a place, or an activity that is zapping at your energy or isn't returning on the investment that you're giving energetically, it's time to release that, or at least push it to the side for now, because you really need to set your intentions and your focus on one thing. Just fast forwarding a little bit, you have the capacity this month for great growth and development, provided that you focus, okay? There could be a desire for better work-life balance. When this card is reversed, often what's happening is we're putting so much time into personal development, work, school, extracurricular activities that there's nothing left over at the end, right? And one thing that I've learned the older I get is I can't push myself further than I can push myself. Like some days I'm going to be super productive, some days I need a rest day. It's like working out your body, right? You actually need a day just for rest, and you need to alternate between what you're working on as far as different muscles in different parts of your body. So you're not a machine. Give yourself time to rest. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, and make sure that there's enough of everything that makes up that little pie chart of life so that you feel a sense of being fulfilled, that there's enough. And those are the main takeaways here. We'll dig a little bit deeper when we're looking at work and opportunities, but I will say this much. Don't underestimate yourself. Don't sell yourself short. This is a time where you really need and should want to advocate for the most. And again, just a little bit of a fast forward. It feels like you can get it, but you have to believe that you can do it and that you do deserve it in order to get that King of Pentacles moment that's going to come soon. All right, as we move here into the presenting energy for July, it's interesting that they call this forgiveness, but we have the Judgment card. Let's take a look at it and let's talk about it. So what this actually is a phoenix rising up from the ashes. But when the card is reversed, it's saying before you can move onward or upward, there has to be an internal sort of reckoning. As I was talking about, if you are kind of living in this could have, would have, should have, I wish I would have done it sooner, if only I had seen it, etc., etc., this card is saying it's okay. You see it now. It's a call to action. If we look at a card that's closer to Rider-Waite-Smith, we see the souls rising up from the dead. We see the angel calling them to reimagine themselves. So July is very much a reforging moment for you. If there's ever been a time to sort of shed your skin or release the cocoon and allow yourself now to just experiment and try something new, it's now, when you're watching this ostensibly, throughout the month of July. If you've been ignoring something, Judgment comes through and it's saying, actually now you have to deal with it, particularly when it's reversed. The angel with the horn is saying it's time. And whether or not you're ready to kind of go there, the next card is going to be the World. You have to, it's almost like you have to be ready. Have you ever noticed with a deadline, you sometimes operate more effectively? This could be a month where you might work better with a deadline and maybe even giving yourself the expectation that I really need and deserve to try something different. So that's what this card is saying. And no matter how much you think you might have stumbled or fallen or made a mistake rather, this card is saying forgive yourself and go higher. The Phoenix is basically something you can't conquer. It always comes back. This month in particular, you can rise up if you're ready, if you're willing. In relationships, this is a pretty significant card. It's past life energy. And what I do like about this, though, is there is a sense of resolution. So we'll continue to visit this, but so far I actually like what's coming through here because we have getting your sort of head out of the books, looking around and seeing, oh, wait, there actually is a way to do this faster than I thought or differently than I thought. But I have to choose. Notice how he's holding one coin. So there's a choice and there's some forgiveness and then there's some accountability that has to happen. And then we have the Nine of Wands coming through. So this is coming through in the future position. It's in the reversed state. So one thing you want to do is, this would probably be towards the third week of the month or so, but give yourself a little bit of a break, like a day off, or I was talking about making sure that there's maybe openings in your schedule so that you're not burning out. We can see just how close you are to the finish line here, like 90% of the way there. But that last 10% is often the most mentally challenging and sometimes even physically challenging. Let's look at the traditional card as well, but before I go there, again, I just want you to take a moment today when you're listening to this to celebrate. Look at how far I've come. Look at how close this goal is. And then set an intention that no matter what, you can do this. Here is the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, and if we zoom in on his face, you can see that sense of being annoyed, like, why is it taking so long? It's like a little kid in the back of a car asking, Mom, Dad, why aren't we there yet? And as I said earlier, some of it is just, it can happen sooner if you wanted to, but there's no rush. That's basically what Spirit's saying. Everything is going to line up. Don't rush and don't beat yourself up. The timing is more of a block, potentially, even though we have a special block that we'll look at in a second. Don't let that get in the way of seeing what's right. We see the bandage around that person's head. Stress is a major influence this month, even though things are actually moving in the right direction. It could be the stress you put on yourself to be perfect. It can be the stress that you have when you're thinking about what everyone might think. All of those, could have, should have, would have's, maybes. They have a time and they have a place, but they shouldn't get in the way of what this category is, the future. So let's celebrate just how close something is to be either accomplished or maybe even to open up to you, and don't let your own thoughts kind of weigh too heavily, okay? This can also be a pushy card. Push right back. Push right back if someone is trying to make you do something that you don't want to do, okay? So now let's take a look at the sort of summary for this entire month here, the King of Pentacles. This is great. I love that this artist went 110% into the sort of lush opulence is the best word that the King of Pentacles has, because we all want to have more than enough, and this card is the epitome of it. The only thing that would be more is the Wheel of Fortune, okay? So you have the capacity to amp up resources. There's no need to exist in a constant state of the Two of Coins or the Two of Pentacles. An interesting thing with the Two of Pentacles is sometimes you're just being stretched thin because you're in demand. So if you've ever studied economics, supply and demand, you can be choosier when that happens. You can, if you're, for instance, trying to negotiate, you can be a little bit more aggressive in the price point and things like that. So be aware of the demand that you might be in and make sure that you're more selective, you're more discerning. This is connected with home and family as well. So in the home, it's about feeling really comfortable. You might be looking at a way to, maybe there's some redecorating. If you're thinking of expanding the family, it can be building the nursery, getting things set up. Like before my little puppy came into my life, I had to do this actually so I could adopt him, but I made a video of my home at the time, but I had the little bed, I had his toys, I showed them the neighborhood. You kind of get everything ready for that presence in your life. So whether you're birthing a baby, bringing in a dog, creating a project, I want you to spend some time making space, actual space in your life for that, knowing that it's going to come in. And that was one of the deciding factors. She's like, oh my gosh, you really are ready for this beautiful creature to come into your life, aren't you? And I said, yes, I am, please. So get ready, set the stage. And we'll talk about that in a second because you also have the Four of Wands. This is also about relationship energy. So this is someone who is very much paternal, very caring, very giving. And to get there, don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. You need to have enough so that you can give enough. So you can pay it forward, but not to the extent that you're exhausted. And I think that's what's happening for some of you. People see the generosity and they may be taking advantage of that. So if you're someone who just gives to that point of exhaustion, you have to have better boundaries this month. But ultimately, this is a great card for those of you that are looking for personal development, for a job, for an opportunity. And it feels like it's coming around after a challenge before. But the first block that I'm seeing is overextending oneself. Okay? So be mindful of that. Now we're going to move into the liminal space between the 2 months. So in the liminal space here, we have a connector. So let's see what's connecting these 2 months together. So we have the Four of Wands. I mentioned setting the stage. This card is absolutely that. And they put the focus on the people in this card. So this would be your best friends, anyone in your life that is sort of like ride or die. They're there till the end. They're through thick and thin. This is the person that's going to help you bring it to the next level. If you're looking for commitment, this actually portends good things. Now, in the traditional card, here's something just to keep in mind. So we can see the people, all of the people that were in the other card in the background. But I mentioned setting the stage as we talked about, with this card, creating space in your home, in your life, in your mind. That's part of this. So if you're here rather than here, don't worry. We're just seeing two sides of the same coin. Continue to work and know that what came through in this jubilant card, it may be like a few weeks or a few months away, but it's en route. Now, Four of Wands is an increased focus on core relationships. So you may be deciding to dedicate more time to one person in your life or one group in your life. Again, ostensibly someone that gives back what you're investing, because the Two of Pentacles as the past influence is saying it has to balance out. So that's the big takeaway here. When we're looking at the connection, it's about the people this month, and it's about the core relationships. And it feels like some of you are at a point where you want to know where you stand with someone or something. So if you've been freelancing on a job, trying to get a full-time position, this is the month to have that sort of talk about commitment. In a relationship, the same thing may hold true, where you really want to know, where do we stand? What's next? Okay. Now let's look at the potential block. And it's interesting because it's good. So we have the Six of Cups. This can be friends, family, or community. Why would it be a block, you ask? Well, if it's missing. If everything looks good, but this component is missing. So in a job, for instance, maybe on paper, it gives you all the money or all of the accolades that you're looking for, but when you walk into the office, it feels like a ghost town, or it feels like there's this stress that you don't want to be a part of. This is missing. So know what you want and feel that connection. And it feels like it's important to be loved, seen, and appreciated. I mean, universally, these are good things. And it doesn't just hit in love and marriage. It hits in all aspects of your life. So whatever is lacking that sense of appreciation, connectivity, joy, family, community, let that be sort of like a road sign saying, why don't you try this path instead? An arrow pointing in another direction. Also, family could be coming through, and this isn't a bad thing. It's an unexpected twist or turn. It's called block because it might block one path, but it might open another. So an unexpected pregnancy, but a blessing nonetheless. An understanding that, yes, your child can get into the school that they want to, but you might have to move for it or something like that. So something where family is first, and it throws your timeline into a different path. Remember I said there are options. Explore all the options. The other path could also open up something glorious and wonderful for you too. So before reacting, explore what's going on. The choice to put energy into a relationship or into your family or into a passion project, something or someone that you love, could push you in a different trajectory. But right underneath this, we had the portal. So to me, it looks like it's good, but the timing, the shape, the form is unexpected. By the way, good things come in twos sometimes, so you might have two things to choose from. That's what's happening here. This is a decision-making card, and you're torn. If you are starting a family, getting pregnant or something, there could also be twins. So we're seeing like maybe two things that you have to decide between, and then that could just be the block, which is, I don't know, I love them both. So take your time, all right? Now let's move on to August. So we just finished July, and we just saw how they're connected. Now let's look at the first part of August. All right, so I quite like what we're seeing here as we look at past influences for August. We have the Six of Wands. And what we see here is someone focusing more on the magician element. Sometimes we forget that it's magic wands, right? That's why wands is one of the best suits. You can make things happen. But in the traditional card, we see someone leading the way. Leading, not following. Another thing that I'm seeing that's very unique to this card is that sort of spark at the center where she's starting to like connect with her power. And as long as you see it, you feel it, you believe it, that is going to get all of the other people that we see on the sidelines here in the traditional illustration to come forth. You have to really feel your power, your connection, and your purpose. That's also why we had the Judgment card in the previous month. You're set up for success, and it's hitting at the very beginning, ostensibly, of August. So it feels like the month is going to kick off on a really good note. And as we take a look at how everything has been set up, that makes a lot of sense. I think part of this is support. So this is friends and family here. And this is the key. This is the connector that can help you. So what I'm looking at, the reason that this is happening is you've made a choice here. You've decided what makes sense, possibly forgiven yourself and decided like, okay, I'm ready to move forward. The hard work is paying off. You get that sense of what's possible. Now friends and family coming through to support, and now everything is perfectly kind of set up. So keep doing the work. Don't give up. Everything is building up to this point. All of these things are constituting the little steps that are setting you up for success. And even if you feel like you haven't done some of this, we're still reading August, and it's still kicking off in an energy that is supportive of you. So feel that you can do this. And again, allow yourself to explore a path maybe that you've never explored before. And that's the next card, beautifully timed. We have the Fool in reverse, and it's here in the present section of the spread. And if we look at this card close up, there's a person that's getting ready to get on this train, ostensibly. And basically, here's what I'm getting from this. Now is a moment in time, this portal, here's your portal, and it's coming through clearly now in the middle of the month of August. When this opportunity knocks, go for it, because you don't want to regret later not trying this. So if there's something that your heart truly is singing and connecting and beating for, I want you to go for that. There's no room in this life for regret. So that's message one. The second message is, if it doesn't feel right, you shouldn't move forward. If there's someone that's pushing you, because I said this can be pushy, the Nine of Wands. If there's someone that's casting judgment on you and saying, I don't like your path, you should do my path. No thanks. I'm going to follow my own path, because as I said a moment ago, success is subjective. I didn't say those exact words, but you lead the path here. So you're leading the charge, not following, and success is something that you get to define. And as much as you might love friends and family, sometimes they can be the block to doing what is right for you. You're set up for success. This time it's going to be a little bit easier, a little bit clearer, but there's still going to be that fear of, can I do it? We're in the present, so it's a yes. And we looked at the karma, which is a now. So we put them together and it's like, yes, now is the time. And also connecting it to the judgment card, the call to action. So I get a clear indicator that you're getting poised for a really beautiful portal or opening in the middle of August. There's a little bit of work to be done between now and then. There may be a little bit of fear or doubt or uncertainty, but this is going to be an exciting adventure. And that is what the Fool is adventurous. Every time you step foot out of your house, out of your country, into another part of the world, there's always this feeling of, like your heart's beating a little bit, like, what am I doing? Am I going to be okay? But that's also what keeps us going and what keeps us alive. It's good to have, to a degree, some butterflies, because it helps keep you vibrant and connected, and you know that you're doing something if there's this feeling of, I want to make it good. I don't want to mess up. So I feel like there's just a call to take the next step and an indication that indeed now is the time to do so. Okay? There may be a move or some travel on the horizon for you, and if that feels right, then good for you. Also, you might be taking a few steps forward and one step back. Again, based on everything else that I'm seeing in this spread, I wouldn't take that one misstep too seriously. Look at the overarching journey and the overarching trajectory. The very next card tells me that you are primed not just for success, but this next step. So in the future position in August, we have ostensibly the best of the best cards here in the major arcana, because this is connecting you to source energy. And it's come up a few times in the last few readings that I've done. So be authentic, be yourself. If somebody says, I think you're right for this, say, great, tell me when, tell me how, show up. So it's about stepping into the spotlight. And because you are in that energy of self-assuredness, because you're connecting with something that feels passionate and authentic, that's also what's reinforcing what we see here with these two cards, the Four of Wands and the Six of Cups. So all of the community energy that's coming forth is because of this. All of the accolades that came through last month is also because of that. So continue to shine brightly and know that you are indeed worth it. And this card is indicating that. When we look at the takeaway, and then we'll go to destiny, we basically see here that your hard work and diligence and self-reliance is why you are going to be okay. It's also why you are ready for the Fool, for the Star, for the Six of Wands. So I have this original card ready just because I wanted to cross-reference it. Once more, we're going to look in the very corner and see that cute little snail. So anything worth doing, you should do right the first time, and that usually means that you want to take your time. That is going to lead you to the abundance, to the riches, to the sense of, I can do this. Slow, steady, to a degree, even like premeditated in how you want it all to, there's a better word. I would just say like very organized, methodical. That's a better word too. Just take your time. Because at the end of your days on this planet too, and whenever you're done with this next step, you're going to feel very confident that you put forward the best version of yourself. Also in this moment, if you've worked hard, don't be afraid to receive or to sort of like pull in that abundance, harvest that abundance, the fruits of your labor. So this is a chance to basically get your flowers. And by the way, that is a Six of Cups energy. So this is your moment to really do that. Even though that came in the block, maybe there's a little bit of resistance to saying thank you or having the spotlight shined on you, but this is the time and this is the place. All right, we're going to move to the Destiny card, which is where everything is headed over the course of this month, and let's talk about that next. All right, so for Destiny, we have a potential challenge, the Five of Pentacles. Things can, should, and will be easier than they are illustrated in this card. This, based on all of the cards that precede it, probably represents one or two things: self-confidence and possibly just general health and well-being. There could also be a person in your life that is trying to take more than they should. But as far as self-confidence, what happens sometimes is, whether it's a rejection from our deep past or a rejection from someone who represents like a parental figure in our life, maybe it's even this King of Pentacles person, a mentor, a good friend, a teacher. If they reject you or don't see you or don't value you, it leads to this sense of questioning, inner questioning. Can I do it? Am I worth it? Do I deserve this? You definitely deserve it. We just looked at a card of maximum worth as the big takeaway. So what we want to do is fight back on this feeling of less than. You are greater than or equal to go back to mathematics. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to receive help. And if someone or something is under-delivering and is not giving you the support, the love, or the, really the validation that you deserve, then especially now, it's okay to move in a new direction. So make sure that this is also one of those choose your own adventure moments. If there's something where you think to yourself, it's not good enough, whether it's a person or an opportunity, don't do it. Don't settle for less than you want or you deserve. And that's the big takeaway on that Destiny card. All right. We're going to now go a little bit deeper and look at health, wealth, and love, since I just covered Destiny, and see what Spirit has to say. I'm going to continue to use tarot cards on this because it's just more sort of like concise. All right. Health, interesting. Wealth, and love. All right, we're going to start off with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. Stagnation, and possibly not getting enough sleep, especially as illustrated here. So if there's something in your life that you're doing and the results aren't as you expect, a reversed death card doesn't necessarily mean it's detrimental. It's saying that there's no movement. It's stagnating, because death is change and death is transformation. So if you are like eating a certain way, working out a certain way, doing something that historically clicked, but it isn't now, talk to a doctor, talk to a professional, change up the routine, any and all of the above. There may also be something specifically with the sleep habits that you have that need to be addressed. If you're getting too little or too much, absolutely talk to your general physician about that. We can take this at face value. You may be going through a significant change or loss in your life, possibly just losing someone that you love. There could also be a wake-up call that happened where it's something never goes wrong in a certain part of your body or energy, but you're experiencing a challenge now, and the doctor said, change this or else. So it's basically a wake-up call. And that really nicely connects to this forgiveness energy, which is judgment. And in the traditional illustration, this can be a very close call, one that you succeed and get through, but you don't want to repeat that. All right, so let's just take an overall look at everything that we see on the table here, and then we'll move on to the next category. So from a health perspective, the Two of Pentacles is just about proper balance in all aspects of your life. Eating well, sleeping well, exercising enough, work-life balance as well, all of that, okay? The Nine of Wands, as I showed you earlier, can be a headache or some mental fatigue that's due to overworking. So we can see that especially in this version of the card. So be kind to your body, be kind to yourself, especially now. Let's see what else we see in the spread. Just friends and family could be taking more of a center stage and needing a little bit more time from you. So finding a way to balance all of that out could be a bit of a challenge as well. This can be a cold or flu. And this could also simply be because there is a lack of balance and boundaries. So making sure that the rest is there, making sure that you're not overextending yourself, all of this is very important in this moment in time. Try not to overdo things. King of Pentacles can overwork. He can also overindulge. Usually it's overeating, overworking for the most part. But any vice we want to be mindful of, that could be one of the temptations that I kind of picked up in the channeled messages. If there are people in your life that tend to pull you into habits that are bad, it doesn't have to just be addictive. It could be self-destructive, and that's what death represents. Absolutely, you have to go in another direction. And that's a very strong message. There could be someone in your life that just doesn't have your best interest at hand. They're able to live a little bit more recklessly, but you can't do that anymore. That was something that you could do when you're younger, but not now. And my guides and your guides wanted me to clarify that, because in some of what I saw in the dreams, it was someone that tended to live life sort of like without caution and faster and furious. And you don't want that, because it'll catch up to them eventually, but it might catch up to you quicker. And I don't want that. Okay. So be mindful of the company that you keep. And you may have to separate yourself from someone this month because their habits are not ideal. Okay, let me see if there's anything else in this spread. Just slow and steady again with the Nine of Pentacles. And overall, it feels like a successful month. Just a couple of, like, the wake-up call here is key. Listen to that and don't give in to temptation from friends or family or pressure. Okay? All right, let's move on. We're going to take a look now at wealth. So what we have here in wealth is a blessing in disguise. The Four of Cups in reverse is showing that sometimes the thing that we most want or need, it's there in front of us or it's there within reach, but we're focusing instead on comparing ourselves to others. This is very much a card of the grass is always greener in someone else's yard. And so this is basically saying you can get inspired by someone else, you can get frustrated by someone else, but ultimately it leads to self-discovery and a decision like, okay, I'm going to do some work on myself then. That's interesting, and maybe that works for them, but I need to, again, find my own path. Something may be easier than you think, but the emotional state that you're in right now could be blocking that. So before moving forward at all here in wealth, I think it's going to be really important to tune in and also ask yourself, is this what I signed up for? Because it's okay. Maybe you're just getting ready to pivot, and you thought something would be one way, and then as you got involved, you're like, no, it's not. That's all right. Now you know. And now you can decide what to do next, okay? But there could be a hidden blessing. There could be an outstretched hand. There could be a portal that is here. And possibly that slight bit of agitation that you're feeling was what you needed to nudge you through the door, okay? Let's break this down into 5 categories, beginning with those that are presently employed. If you have a job, here's what I see. So one of the challenges right now for some of you is this lack of support in the form of the Two of Pentacles. Or you might be doing the job of 2 people. And if that's the case, it's really important to speak up. And there's only so much you can humanly do. So highlight what sort of help or assistance that you need. Go to the powers that be. You may have to go beyond your boss or to someone else in order to get that. But the good news is it's worth the fight, it's worth the struggle, and it looks like you're a valuable contributor here. So make that case, okay? And if you still don't get the support that you need, then it's kind of like a disincentive. This is why the Four of Cups is here. It's like, well, I could work hard to the point of exhaustion or sickness, but why? And I agree. Don't overdo it. Do exactly what you need to. And eventually, if they need more help, they'll either be willing to pay you more, or they're going to eventually realize that there's just no way that this can be done, and they'll get more realistic. Other things to focus on. I quite like the energy of community here. It can both level you up and also distract you. So find a way to make sure that you're not pulled into too many directions. Family is important. Family may need your help. There could be a sick child. There could be a relative that's not doing well, and that could be a potential block. But the people that love you and care about you the most will also support you and allow you to do what you need to do in this moment. So trust in that knowing and do what's right for you, okay? Ultimately, you're going to, especially as we look at August, it looks great here. I couldn't get a better sort of connection of cards here than like six of cups, the Fool, and the Star. So success, a new door or window or portal of opportunity, and then you in a really good position. Don't sacrifice your health or well-being. Don't take less than you deserve. Definitely this month, it's important to look at compensation and make sure that you're getting your fair share, okay? All right, let's move on from those that are employed to entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, overall, it looks pretty good. I think, again, there's some choices that have to be made by everyone this month with the Two of Pentacles. The Three of Wands shows me that this is something that you can actually like project past because, again, if we go to the traditional one, this is about planning beyond this month, like 2 to 3 months, a quarter of the year. So we see a little hiccup here, but we see things improving here. So give yourself credit for being able to kind of like project outward and don't make immediate decisions based on 1 month or one moment in time. But when it comes to products and services or clients, if there's someone who takes too much, who isn't paying their bills, or if you're doing something and it's not balancing out on the sort of like ledger, then this is a moment to get real with that and say, how am I going to address it? Okay? What else? I think it could be really great this month to celebrate and leverage the support of your employees and also all of this seems like it's untapped. So when it comes to your customers, customer appreciation is important, but also maybe even getting their feedback. And it doesn't have to be, in like a boring form. There could be other ways that you could solicit some of that feedback, but ask them what they think for ideas, for improvements, because that can help your business grow. It looks like there could be some press opportunities coming through later in August. A trip could be very pivotal in opening up a new opportunity. And some of you want to give back. There's a philanthropic energy here. And I like that. Make that part of your brand messaging, because that also is going to get more people excited about what you're doing. As we move on to job seekers, I want to talk a moment again about this particular card. The Four of Cups, I totally get it sometimes. When it rains, it pours. When there's a lot of movement and good news, it's great. When there isn't, it starts to feel like, the sky is falling. We are in very sort of chaotic economic and political times where that affects the markets, the job markets, the hiring market, and that can make you feel uncertain. Because this is a card of perspective, there's an encouragement with this, especially since we see this ace in the corner, possibly like this little cup that's just floating there, to go for something that you normally wouldn't, to walk through and say, okay, well, maybe if I get some additional training, or maybe if I take a step in this direction and try something different, maybe that could lead to a different outcome. I tend to agree. Repackaging your skills, I think, is the key to success. I've done that no less than 3 or 4 times in my career, because my initial sort of specialization back in the early 2000s, like 2001, 2, there was a small crash in the market, and like all technical jobs went away for a little bit. But I knew that wouldn't be a forever state, so I took my skills and I'm like, but I can also do this. So I worked in a more traditional creative environment, and I was fine. But I had to be open and willing to try something different, all right? So if you're willing to do that, some exciting things could come forth. I do think you might, by the end of the 2-month period, have a couple choices in front of you. Here's what I see with the 2 choices. Interestingly enough, and this might help make it easier, I feel like one of the jobs that you're interviewing for, they've already made their mind up. Judgment is like a job that's been listed, but there's an internal candidate or chosen candidate, but they still have to go through it for legal reasons. So if you get the runaround, you never hear back from someone, I'm getting more of that energy. there should be a very easy and fluid track to success. The first person that you talk to, though, may not, you really need to show what you can do, because I see quite a bit of wiggle room between the Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. So it's almost as if it's a low ball offer, like the title and everything else is exactly what you're looking for, but it's almost, I don't want to say like insulting, but it's much less than it should be. So make sure that you're putting, like when we're looking at compensation, don't sell yourself short. Talk to other people. Make sure you know your value. State what's out there and meet them somewhere in the middle of these two. So ostensibly the Seven of Pentacles. Not as much as you want, but a little bit more than they want to give. And so we're maybe looking at like a 15% difference or something, but it's worth it. You're worth it, okay? There's probably a need to commute for this. Like we're looking at public transportation. So it may be a little bit further, but I like this. And this is another reason that you could mention, like, it's too expensive for me to live in this part of the city, or I need a travel stipend, or I'm bringing a lot to the equation. So just make sure you state your case, and there's something in that where you can get a little bit more, okay? So I see it landing a lot easier in August. I see July. You might be like a second choice too. There could be something that falls through, and then you're thinking like, what am I? You know, sliced liver or whatever that phrase is, but sometimes it's okay to be the second choice, because I believe everything's a synchronicity. So if it feels right, if and only if it feels right, then move forward and don't let ego get in the way. Okay? You have to be in the authenticity of the star. Truly show your colors on the interview, and in any way that you are engaging with people, don't hold back. They want to see something that jumps out from the stack, not that blends in. All right, moving on now to students. If you're a student right now, first of all, it looks like it's a pretty good month right here, right now. I wouldn't add anything to the equation. Love what I see. Love that we actually have like a studious Three of Wands. And the only thing that's important here is to make sure that whatever classes, whatever courses that you're lining up, that they are what you want. Focusing on your path and your desire is going to get you to the finish line more successfully and with greater satisfaction. As we look at August, an opportunity is knocking. There could be an internship. There could be recognition, or like maybe this is even in an extracurricular, but like you're in the spotlight. Embrace it, go for it. The Fool card could also be a desire to take a step back or study abroad or take an internship. There's something here that's going to take you out of all of this. Explore that opportunity, if you will. It's not a forever thing. It's maybe something for a month or for a semester. The thing that you want to be mindful of here is health. I really do feel okay overall about just the general sort of money, but it could be health. For those of you that are looking at a very expensive degree, you might also be looking at additional ways to fund that through scholarships or kind of stretching it out a bit and working part-time. I think it's important to look at what kind of a commitment you're getting into when it comes to long-term debt. So absolutely ask some questions, talk to your advisor there. But overall, this is a great time for students. And it feels like you want to work on your own a little bit away from the distraction of others. Retirees. You're being pulled in a lot of directions with the Two of Pentacles. For some of you, now more than ever, there's an understanding that life is finite, and the choices that you make now are more important, therefore, because there may be fewer days ahead than behind, and so you want to make every one of them count, and I'm all for that. So making smart choices, heeding that call to not sort of like sweat the small stuff. Some of you really are in this sort of nesting phase is what I'm getting, so that's great. If you want to spend a little bit of time decorating, redecorating, doing some renovations, I'm picking up on that in July. In August, a trip. You can start planning it now because you probably can save a little bit if you do it ahead of time. The trip is very transformative. Also, for some of you, it's just really going for something unique. This is a brand new chapter, a brand new phase, and it feels like there's a newfound confidence that's emerging because of that. I encourage you to go all in. I've been noticing for a lot of signs that it could be cold, flu, or just general energy. There's a little bit of a hiccup here, so you want to mind that and don't overdo it, especially in travel. Sometimes we book an itinerary that's too much. Whether it's friends or traveling, keep a little bit of extra time on the books just for you, okay? Now let's take a look at love. We have the Eight of Wands. It's a busy period when it comes to social aspects of your life. You may have a lot going on at work. It also might be a lot going on in your family. Let's break it down. If you're partnered, this can be a ton of family functions. There could be a wedding, there could be a graduation, there could be a baptism or a bat mitzvah or something like that. There's a bunch of things going on where it's like, oh my gosh, when is this going to stop? You have a busy couple of months here. Pace yourself. It's very important to pace yourself. Looking at those of you that have been in a relationship but not necessarily maybe gone to the point of exclusivity or commitment, this is the second time. I saw it for the previous sign too. Four of Wands, that's putting a ring on it. Or that's saying, let's be exclusive, or I love you. There's an expression of commitment. That's the best word that I can put, and that's a really good thing to appear during this kind of a reading. What might be challenging for those that are partnered right now? There's not enough of you to go around. There's not enough money to go around. I definitely get some stress over money. And for some of you, it could be because of saving for college or just saving for retirement. Saving. It feels like you want to do a lot now, but you also know that when times are uncertain, it's important to have that rainy day fund. Indeed, I agree. Some other things that I'm picking up on here. Your partner may be traveling, you may be traveling, so making time for each other is key. I also feel like one of you might be very much in the spotlight. And know this, if you're in a point of your life where you're feeling a little bit more challenged, like energy attracts like energy, and relationships are give and take. So they may be in the spotlight, but you're part of that spotlight. You're part of the one that's bringing it in. You both are equal partners in this. So celebrate their success and know that they'll do the same. And if they don't, that's a red flag. But you should always be happy for someone else that's doing well. So that's one of the little nudges here. I think it's really important now for physical well-being to come through and take care of yourself. Cold, flu, overwork. We don't want any of that to happen here, because there is a point where the body just shuts down and says, I'm going to make you lay down here on the couch for 2 or 3 days. So take some time for yourself. Okay. The only thing that's kind of interesting here as we're looking at partnerships is this can be someone who has low self-esteem. That is challenging, and there's only so much that you can do to repair that. There may be a need here for counseling, if that's the case. Whether it's you or the other partner, there's only so much. They have to be ready to receive. Okay? Looking at anybody that is single and looking, here's what I see. Over the course of July, you're pulled in a lot of directions. I think it's important to create the necessary balance first, take care of your health and well-being. And when you're least looking or expecting it, we have a King of Pentacles coming through, so a nice earth sign energy. This could get serious quickly. The only potential hiccup is they may want to start a family. They may already have a family. Maybe they're divorced and have children. And so there may be that ready-made energy that is presenting itself here. Past life connection, serious nature, a nesting energy that I already picked up on. There's another opportunity here. It could be an Aquarius or just a really great connection here with the star. And this person, here's the interesting thing. It feels like there's a lot going on in their life. And they, as successful as they are, it's almost like you get a type A personality where they're trying to, it's like self-validation, but there's a little bit of a self-confidence issue going on here. So take your time to get to know them and see if the exterior matches the interior, if there's a little bit of bravado or a little bit of projection that they're doing. But overall, can you find people? Yes, these are two very good cards. But like I said, one is very serious. One is maybe not all that it's cracked up to be. So I want you to get to know who you are and who they are and see if there's compatibility. Okay, single and happy. Congrats for being single and happy. What I see here is a chance to take something to the finish line. Really good productivity and also like financial energy. Same general caution when it comes to overworking yourself. We don't want to do that during this period. There may also be someone in your life that just, again, is trying to get more out of you than you should be giving them. So boundaries are very important. But it looks like you could make a splash. There could be a chance for, again, it could be an interview or a public speaking engagement or just recognition in general. When it comes to work and personal development, this is a great month to shine. Now we're going to look at one final question. anything that you still have and need some clarity on, let's shuffle the cards and see what Spirit has to say. All right, we have Queen of Swords energy coming through. She is reversed. She's saying yes, but like walk the walk and talk the talk. So the accountability piece and the authenticity piece of the star are doubly as present in the Queen of Swords reversed. Cautionary notes. Queen of Swords in reverse is self-assured. She's outspoken. She's strong. Sometimes the tone, sometimes the timing is off. So make sure that the audience wants to listen. Make sure that your words are interpreted correctly. And if there's anything that you're writing or recording, get someone to listen and to look at it to make sure that you're not saying something that just lands incorrectly. That's the only cautionary note. I love that the pineal gland is wide open on this card. Back to the very channeled message, the very beginning channel message. Only move forward if it feels right. If not, she's like Justice here. She's going to say no. She can say no thanks if she's feeling like it, but trust your instincts. Absolutely. And just quickly looking at everything. As I said, it feels like you are really focusing on getting confident, getting that feeling of being grounded and nesting a little bit here in July. And what we see also is a chance to set into balance everything that needs to be balanced and look at things from a new perspective. The most powerful of the 2 months is August. And there may be a little bit of give and take, but you're still walking away in a really good position at the end of August. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. It was a pure pleasure to change the routine up, speaking of changing things up, and look at it from a new angle. And I like 2 months because, first of all, it gets us all ahead so that I can take a deep breath, but also strategically, I kind of want to know what's happening this month and next. So you don't have to wait now. You have it all. And I hope you enjoy that. If you did, and if you do, consider hitting the thumbs up. Brand new people, please subscribe. Long-time lurkers that have never subscribed, please consider subscribing as well. We're close to a milestone, and I'd love to get to the next level and reach a whole new group of people. So thank you for helping with all of that. You can follow me on social media. It's always my first and last name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. On Blue Sky, it's nicholasashbaugh.com. You can also go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com, for additional information, for any links that you might need or have missed. It's all there, folks, okay? And I believe that's everything for today. I just want to end with gratitude. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Thank you for being the best part of what I do here each and every day and month and week. I wouldn't be here without your love and support. Take care, and I'll see you soon.